Government policy has done so much to destroy the grandparent-grandchild relationship, especially when you talk about these family courts, which are anything but family friendly.
Oh, they're not family friendly.
So it sounds like, I know we've talked a little bit about this, we just mentioned it earlier, but tell us your experience with these family courts in particular.
One particular time we were in court, and she did make me kind of a supervisor over the situation.
Wow.
She did allow me to do that. She didn't even ask me, really. She just told me. She did. She went in and told me. She said, because you have not missed. Now, this is the point. I had not missed one court date
Right.
in my son's divorce.
Right.
My husband and I both tried to be there, but we never missed anything. And she felt like since we were so loyal, and we weren't against one or the other.
Right.
We were loyal to be there for whatever needed to be done.
Right.
So she made me that for a while.
Yeah.
And we did that for a while. And it kept them more peaceful with each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we did that. And that was not a big deal. But you have to be okay with both sides
Right.
to do that.
Right.
And she knew that I could swallow my pride and do that.
Yeah.
But as far as the courts go, if you go to court for grandparents' rights, it will not happen.
Right.
It will not happen.
Right.
I have a friend, she did just win custody over the last 3 years of her granddaughter. But in Oklahoma, the mother has to completely sign away. And the judge made the mother sign her rights away. Now the mother has come back 3 years later and decided she wants her daughter back. So she has filed for grandparents' rights.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't get them.
Wow.
So the grandmother has had to move down to Texas, to Midland, Texas, and she's down there with another daughter, but she's bought her own home.
Yeah.
She's raising this grandchild. She's doing a wonderful job. The child's got everything she could ever need. But the mother is trying everything. Now, she was willing to let her see her.
Yeah.
But she didn't want that. It was all or nothing. But she didn't obey the courts, and the courts made her sign her up because she was a drug addict.
Wow.
So she did that herself. Other people that I know are fighting and fighting.
Yeah.
No.
And when you talk about this, so my brother, my youngest brother, went through a divorce, and one thing that happened after that divorce, my mom fought for grandparents' rights. This was back in Pennsylvania, and she got them. So for years and years, she would drive down, pick up her granddaughter, bring her back up to Erie. She wanted to make sure that the connections between her granddaughter and the rest of the family were maintained. Now, I was out of the state, so I wasn't there for a lot of this stuff, but everybody else was there. And to this day, she has good relationships, I think, with everybody who was there. But more importantly was that right now she's a doctor. I think that it was largely because that grandparent bond was still there and was able to keep her connected to the family, that she was able to do some of the things that she's done. It just shows that that's an instance where the grandparent, had it not been for the grandparent involvement, I think we would be missing one doctor in Texas right now.
Probably. That's probably true. It's just that it's not that we're more important.
Right.
We're an extension of your mom and dad.
Right.
We're either mom's parents or we're dad's parents.
Yeah.
And so we are carrying all the genes. We've got all the background. We can teach you so much, and we have to be peaceful.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the problem. It's hard sometimes to be peaceful.
Yeah.
And but we have to be peaceful because the grandchild or child in a divorce is the most important.
Right. Right, absolutely. And I think as well, probably your Italian heritage influences this.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about holidays, and holidays are a time, for family to get together. And to have the memories together with not just mom and dad, but with grandma, with grandpa, with aunts and uncles and everybody else, that is so important as well.
Yes, and I had that. Unfortunately, my family's back east.
Yeah.
And I don't have that here for them. But yes, I had all that and growing up, and I had a lot of them here. But I mean, I'm 69, so they're all past.
Right,
they've all
right.
gone. But yeah, we used to, and it's very important. And I was raised that way.
Right.
I was just raised that way, and there was no other way. Unfortunately, a lot of them had passed after Zach was born, but he did get to be around a lot of them at first.
Yeah.
And now like I said, they've all passed. But and COVID, oh my goodness, COVID made a disaster. I still have an aunt that's in her 80s in Tulsa, and she needs to be around her grandkids and everybody. But unless you've been vaccinated, we don't get to see her. And both my son and I are allergic to vaccines, so we're cut out, which has been a heartbreak.
Yeah.
But she stays in touch.
Yeah.
Anyway, you can stay in touch. She can't hear, so she doesn't call, but we write all the time.
Right.
And we're still loved.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes grandparents go through health struggles, and the children will see the parents, but the grandchildren come and see the parents, and all of a sudden they've got a new outlook on life, a new desire to want to be there and to live. And what you're talking about with this whole thing with COVID, that caused a lot of problems to our grandparents as well. I considered it to be elder abuse, quite honestly. And, grandparents that sometimes they get into the place where they're suffering dementia or beginning to, and they do not understand why you will not let me see my children and my grandchildren.
Yeah. My husband lost, I think, both of my son's grandparents on my husband's side passed away during that time.
Wow.
I'm trying to remember. But, it's difficult. And they were in Colorado. But they still allowed him to some degree. But if they had either one of them been in a nursing home or anywhere else, no.
So it's interesting that you say that, because prior to this as well, my wife's father was in a nursing home, and he got COVID in the nursing home from somebody who was there. Then he had to go into the hospital and everything, and he came to live with us for 16 months. And I've always thought that it's something that we've missed in America, the extended family being around. And of course, there's inconveniences and this, that, and everything else. But the idea that you could have a family, an extended family around, is something that we are so missing in America. And I think that if we got back to our families being together, extended families as well, some of the craziness in society that you're seeing today would be minimized.
Possibly. See, I didn't my dad, because my dad went into an assisted living, and he passed away very quickly. But he was over 6 foot tall.
Right.
And he kept falling, and we couldn't pick him up. So he had to go into assisted living. But my mother lived with me until the day she went into the hospital and passed away.
Right.
So my mother was there for my son.
Yeah.
And he experienced things that maybe most people would think, wow, you really wanted your son to see those things that she did. Well, she had a stroke, and so she became completely different than what she was.
Right.
But he had laughs with her. She was in a wheelchair. She couldn't do anything. She lived with us 4 years. She was demanding, and she, wanted to eat certain things. She'd sneak things to him. But you know what? Those are probably the best 4 years of his life.
Yeah, yeah.
And I would have not had it any other way.
Yeah, yeah.
I would have taken in anybody's parents, I mean, you're supposed to do that.
Yeah, yeah. We have my stepson has a lot of medical needs, severe medical needs, and his nurses, by and large, come from Africa, whether that's Kenya or Nigeria. But one of the nurses that we had there told me, Jeff, my grandmother is coming over, or my mother's coming over, and it is so important that she has a relationship with my children that I pay for her tickets. I take care of everything that she needs while she's here. She can stay as long as she wants. I've had friends that have come from Singapore that they've had their parents live with them for well over a year. I know that a lot of families in other cultures have a more of appreciation for the extended family